I was imprisoned from 1981 to 1990 in Tehran, Evin, Gohardasht, and Qizilhisar prisons. I witnessed just a small portion of the heroic and brave resistance of my sisters, which I will discuss very briefly. If I write any song of true love, it will be forever indebted to the shining sun of their love. As it is said in this poem, I will not let go of this pain. I will not break this bond as long as I live. One of my dearest friends, Ashraf Ahmadi, was arrested in 1981 and hanged in 1988. She was among the first persons to be executed during the massacre. In 1981, we were in Section 311, solitary confinements. She was in my adjacent cell with her very young son. One night, we noticed that Pasdaran, the guards, raided the cell. We recognized the voice of Lajevardi, the butcher of Evin, among them. After about 5 minutes, we heard this mother screaming. They took her child by force. The mother was screaming, "Where are you taking my son in the middle of the night?" They had no mercy. The child was also screaming and calling for his mother. 39 years has passed, but still, when I recall this scene, I feel my heart is burning. It was so intolerable to see the way in which they took the son away from his mother. Ashraf was a real hero. She had spent 3 years in the Shah's prisons. During Khomeini's reign, she resisted steadfastly from 1981 to 1988. Once Lajevardi told her, "We just want you to refer to the MEK as munafiq, hypocrites." "Why should I say so?" she asked. "Like everyone else, I know them as the Mujahideen." This was her crime. She called them Mujahideen and called them by their true identity. There were countless other mothers who were executed during the massacre. Their children were left with no parents. Mahin Qureshi, Mahnaz Yousefi, each had a daughter. Afsaneh Shir Mohammadi, an architect, had a very cute daughter who always asked during visits, "Mom, when are you coming home?" She always replied, "I will come home when the spring comes, when the flowers blossom." Well, indeed, she became a flower herself, but the mother and daughter were never able to be with each other. They executed one of our sisters, Tahmine Sotude, who was paralyzed. Another case was Tayyebe Khosro Abadi, who was handicapped. Her 2 legs were paralyzed by birth. Orders had been issued to free her, but she was executed. Afaq Daknama had severe epilepsy. They had no mercy on her either. They executed them all. During the massacre, we were in a 3-story building called School. In the first floor, there were 5 locked rooms. The prisoners could only go out of the room to wash the dishes of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the door would only be opened 3 times a day. There was no breathing time, as they called. On the second floor, there were people who worked at workshops, and the rest were recent entries. On the third floor, there were a number of Marxists as well as 30 of our sisters. During the massacre, we were in solitary confinement and we did not know what was happening. Later, when we returned to the locked room, from all 5 rooms, no one was left alive except for one. All were executed. From the second and the third floors as well, most of the prisoners were executed. As a result, all the prisoners of 3 floors were taken to 1 floor. In other words, about 150 of our sisters were executed. I had memories from each and every one of them. I witnessed their heroism. Each of them had stories of painful, bitter tortures, such as the cage. Some of them were in cage for 9 months. Some had spent 2 years in dungeons and solitary confinements. Those heroes stood by their promises to their people. They have indeed encrypted the word Mujahid on every brick and every stone of those buildings. They are the reason why the word Mujahid will be eternally alive in our history. Hail to all of them.